In the early days of May 2008, a storm began brewing in the Bay of Bengal. Just a swirling cluster of clouds and wind. Nothing unusual. The region had seen storms before. But this one was different. It grew fast, faster than anyone expected, and stronger. Within 24 hours, it had transformed into a deadly monster. A Category 4 cyclone with winds reaching 215 kilometers per hour. But wind was not its deadliest weapon, it was water. And the country in its path? Myanmar.
The government knew a storm was coming. Satellite images were clear, but warnings were minimal, late, and unclear. The people, especially the millions living in the low-lying Irrawaddy Delta, had no idea what was heading their way.
On the night of May 2nd, 2008, Cyclone Nargis made landfall, and the sky fell. Winds roared like jet engines, ripping trees from the ground and throwing rooftops into the air like paper. Entire villages were flattened in minutes, but it was the storm surge, a wall of seawater over 12 feet high, that sealed the delta's fate. Water crashed inland, sweeping through rice fields, schools, monasteries, homes. People ran, some climbed trees, others tried to swim, but there was nowhere to go. No high ground, no warning, no escape. Whole families were lost in the dark. Boats were torn in half. Livestock drowned in the thousands. The water stayed for days, turning villages into lakes and survivors into refugees.
The aftermath was staggering. Over 138,000 people were confirmed dead. Entire villages vanished from maps. More than 2.4 million people were left homeless, and the Irrawaddy Delta, once the country's rice bowl, was a wasteland. But the horror didn't end with the storm. It continued with silence.
The ruling military junta, the State Peace and Development Council, delayed international aid. Foreign journalists were banned, relief workers were blocked, supplies sat at borders. Desperate survivors waited for food, water, medicine, and help that didn't come. Children drank dirty floodwater, wounds became infected, parents dug through the mud for their missing. And still, the government claimed, "We are handling the situation." But the world watched in disbelief. Not just at the scale of destruction, but at the refusal to let help in.
A natural disaster had struck Myanmar, yes, but it was man-made decisions that turned tragedy into catastrophe. Eventually, some aid was allowed through. Not enough, not fast, but enough to keep people alive. Survivors rebuilt with what they had: bamboo, tarps, salvaged wood. But trauma ran deep. Years later, the scars of Cyclone Nargis still remain, not just in broken homes, but in broken trust. The storm changed Myanmar forever. It showed how nature can devastate a nation, but also how denial, fear, and control can make that devastation worse.
To this day, survivors tell stories of floating corpses, entire villages swept away, children torn from their mothers' arms by waves. Cyclone Nargis was not just a storm, it was a reckoning. A reminder that when warnings are ignored, when governments fail their people, the wind and water will show no mercy. And as the winds howled over the delta that night, only one message remained. Written in the floodwaters, "The sea has come for us, and we were not ready."